On Saturday, November 4th, the University of Washington Tacoma campus hosted a packed house for the 2023 Tacoma Reads marquee event with author David Ambroz. Ambroz, an attorney, advocate, and nationally renowned expert on poverty and child welfare, wrote a book documenting his experience growing up homeless and in foster care. His book, A Place Called Home, a memoir, is one of 3 books selected for this year's Tacoma Reads program, focused on housing insecurity and the meaning of home, especially the experiences of children.
Well, I have a confession to make. I listened to it in April, and then as it got closer, I thought, it's been so long, I need to listen to it again. So I listened to it again about 2 weeks ago, and then when we started the beginning of this week, I said, well, I might want to listen to it one more time. So I'm about 2.5 times in, so I feel like David is my closest friend, and I already know him. But David, it's because the book was so good. It was so inspiring, but it also really reminded us about our own collective responsibility for community.
Absolutely.
This is going to be tough, because I want to be in the audience with all of you listening to David talk. I just am enthralled with David, how you're just inspirational beyond measure. So let's start with the book. David, I'm going to ask you to read from chapter 1, from the very beginning.
Chapter 1. I'm hungry. I've waited as long as I can, and I now scoot past my siblings to tug on my mother's jacket. She swats me away. Walk straight, Mom commands, her voice deep and robotic, the voice of a stranger. If we stop walking, we will freeze to death. It's Christmas in Manhattan, and the Midtown department store windows glow, each one a framed fantasy. A man crosses between me and my brother, bags brimming with gifts hanging from both arms, his pale face flushed with cold. He steps into the street and hails a taxi. I watch for a moment as he gets in, feeling a longing I don't understand. I want to be part of his life, to be his child, to be him, to be so blissfully unaware of the luxury of a warm taxi. We hunker down in the colorless crevices of the city, in the gray shadows of the gray buildings, where the gray snow is piled. We are a gray people fading to nothing.
We know that homelessness is a very complex issue. And we know that because we've tried to solve it. And it's very complex. And people have a lot of ideas of what being homeless is. You talked about it. So like you said, it was like the Red Sea parted and nobody could be around you. You really illuminate in your book how an individual story is unique. Everybody has a different experience. But what are some of the stigmas you've encountered about homelessness? And give us, those of us who are in this room, how do you respond to them when people assume what your life must have been like?
I think the dialogue around homelessness has become dehumanizing. There was a mayoral contest in Los Angeles where one of the candidates kept referring to homeless people as it. Clean it up. When you ban books, when you start referring to whole groups of people as it, who are we? The homelessness crisis and the affordability crisis is because of our behavior and our decisions and our lack of decisions, our lack of bravery. We must change the system if we want to change the outcomes. 100 years from now, what is this town going to look like? Are we happy with that? Do we want to see something different? Do you want to have the same permanent underclass that you have today? No, no one in here does. Then we have to make a different decision.
For more details on the Tacoma Reads program, David's book, A Place Called Home, a memoir, and to reserve a copy from the Tacoma Public Library, visit tacomapubliclibrary.org/Tacoma Reads.